So I've mentioned this issue in passing on other videos, and other media outlets have already been covering this pretty extensively because it's an issue that Chicago just can't ignore. It's one of the most pressing issues that we got going on right now. This has become an absolute record time period for carjackings in Chicago, and by this time I mean the entire last year, and actually probably the year before that too. We've been setting new records as far as carjackings, and currently we are having a carjacking in Chicago about every 4 hours, round the clock. Okay, now the interesting thing is that unlike murders, most of these, well, not most, but more than half, about 65% of these carjackings have been solved, and the majority of the carjackers are between the ages of 15 and 20. Some are even younger than that, and they're a lot of times working in teams. They work very fast. They just pull up next to a car. They hop out with guns, pull the driver out of the car, sometimes punch him, sometimes, if he resists or, starts to shoot at them, then they shoot him, as happened with that firefighter, rest in peace to him. But, a lot of these guys are being caught on video. They're doing it in areas like downtown where there's a lot of cameras, but they're doing it anyways. It's gotten to the point where the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, now is calling a meeting on Friday with all the suburban mayors and mayors of the surrounding towns to address this issue, and CPD is holding meetings advising residents on how to avoid being carjacked. And the local news here in Chicago, for those of you guys who live elsewhere, are running like segments on how to avoid being carjacked with experts demonstrating how to do the right thing. So it's an issue that everybody, all sides of the city, are being affected by right now. It's not just happening on the south and west sides. It's not just happening in the so-called high crime areas. This is happening downtown, north side, suburbs, even north suburbs, everywhere. Okay. The best thing to do, though, okay, before I say anything else, if it gets to the point where you're taken by surprise and it's too late, you make mistakes, and you find yourself staring down the barrel of a gun, and there's 3-4 guys around you with guns trying to get you out of the car, you got to give up the car. Okay, there's certain situations where you just have to take that L. People got their pride or whatever. Some people ain't going. They're ready to go down with the ship. I mean, if you want to go down with the ship, you're going to go down with the ship. Okay, there's some situations where you just have to. There's nothing you can do. You know what I'm saying? There's times when you lose, and you're not going to win a gunfight with 3 or 4 guys. Especially if they've already got their guns pointed right at your head and you have to pull yours out. I mean, it's just not worth. It's not worth doing that. Again, rest in peace to that firefighter that was caught on video trying to shoot at them, but he lost his life. Really in a situation that he had no way to win. He was outnumbered. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not worth to lose one's life over a car, because odds are, like I said, 65% of these situations are being solved, okay? And even if it's not solved, a car is replaceable. Your life is not. So aside from that, though, okay, how to avoid being carjacked in the first place? You want to avoid sitting in the car, and the experts that they've interviewed on the news have said this too, like the security experts. You want to avoid sitting in the car just idling, not paying attention to your surroundings. I see guys doing this downtown. They're just sitting in the car, talking on the phone, not paying attention to what's going on. You're a sitting duck. Okay, these guys are everywhere. They're roaming around downtown, and they literally just pull up on the street next to you, stop, hop out, and it happens in a matter of seconds. You can't just be sitting there chilling in your car. If you want to, talk on the phone in the car, you you have to either get out of the car, okay, which I understand is difficult downtown because parking spaces are hard to come by, but you got to get out of the car, and go in a building, some place where you're going to talk, or just on the street, or you have to be moving, have the phone on speaker on the seat next to you or something so you don't have to have your hands occupied, and you got to be talking while you're driving. Okay, that's what you do. You guys see the way I drive. Okay, now people comment always on my videos, talk about my driving, and I admit I'm at one end of the spectrum when it comes to, driving skills, and I don't advise people, by the way, to drive the way I drive. That carries its own dangers with it, but, I'm a former cab driver, okay? I'm a highly trained professional, okay? Don't try what I do. Don't try what I do at home, my tricks. I mean, I'm running red lights. I'm busting U-turns like an intersection. I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff. You see me cutting people off, swerving. Don't do what I do, okay? And, you know, this is one of the situations like do as I say, not as I do. And it's not something I should joke about, actually, because, well, I've never had an accident. Okay. In 22 years of driving, I have not had not even one accident. And that's not to brag. That's to say, like, you know, my reflexes are on point. I'm not driving around high. I'm not driving around drunk and all that kind of. And even still, you shouldn't drive like me. But I'm trying to do better. Okay, let's just say that it's a bad habit of mine that I'm trying to break. But that does, though, have a side of it that is related to safety. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember like the little JoJo video that I had dropped. I did not stop for one stop sign in that entire video. And you remember, and I was just blowing past them, whoosh, whoosh, one after the next, like, wow, just nailing them stop signs. The reason I was doing that was because, I mean, I was in the heart of Inglewood in that video. Okay, now I've been in, you know, plenty of areas like that in videos. I've been in Garfield Park, Austin. I've been through all those neighborhoods. But in, you know, in Inglewood, I'm not necessarily familiar with the streets. Okay, I'm not as a cab driver. I didn't usually used to work the Inglewood area. I'm much more familiar with the West Side. You know, having worked out there for years. I'm much more familiar with the streets over there and the layout than I am on the South Side. So on the West Side, I feel a lot more comfortable. I know the escape routes. Okay, I know if somebody pulls up to me this way, I know where I can get away. I know what street leads to what street. I know, you know, I know my way around there. And on the North Side, I'm cutting down alleys and stuff like that because I know where I can go, where I can't go. South Side, I'm not familiar, you know, so I'm not stopping because dudes are pulling up next to you. And like I said, you know, plenty of videos, a lot of times they're just hopping out, jacking the car, or they're IDing cars. You know what I'm saying? Who's this guy? He's coming through our neighborhood. We don't know him. You know, now me personally, they're probably not going to just shoot up the car thinking that I'm a rival because, you know, I'm a white guy and I'm pretty, you know, easily identifiable as that. But a lot of these guys aren't even looking in the windows. Chicago is like this, man. Like, these are the kinds of considerations one has to take. So that's, you know, kind of a separate issue, though. But as far as carjackings, it can happen anywhere. It can happen anywhere. So even when you're at a stop sign or at a red light and you got people around you and stuff, these guys are not just walking up. They're pulling up in other cars. So you got to be aware of your surroundings and you got to be ready to peel out. I'm not saying don't stop like I do. You know what I'm saying? That's dangerous. And plus you can get a ticket. But you got to be paying attention because if them dudes hop out, you got to be ready to peel out. And I mean peel out, like real fast. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta have ahead of time planned which way you're going to peel out because if there's oncoming traffic, you obviously can't peel out right into the intersection. So, you know, you gotta leave yourself an escape route. You know, before you pull up to the red light, before you pull up to the stop sign, you see what I do a lot of times, how I pull into the far right lane, like to the side of the car on the farthest right-hand side. Okay, so I can get away down like the adjacent alley. I can get away down. I can make a right-hand turn, okay, down the side street that's, you know, crossing through the intersection. So I have a way I can get away. If I'm in that middle lane, I got no escape route, okay? I can't make a right turn in front of somebody that might go forward. I can't go straight because that's the intersection. And I can't go left because there's somebody on the left side of me. That's like the worst place to be, okay, is right in the middle between two cars. I'm not doing that. If worse comes to worse, I can even go up onto the sidewalk, you know, on the right-hand side if I'm in that far right-hand lane. You see, I always do this. Like when I'm driving and I'm pulling up next to, like in a two-lane situation, I'm on that far right-hand side. And here's another thing, man. Ramming somebody is not a smart idea. First of all, you know, you can shoot the car out. I mean, you can just bust the car. I mean, and like now you're stuck right there. You know, now obviously they can't drive your car away if the car is broken down right there. But that's just, you don't want to be stuck there with three guys with guns. I mean, that's a bad situation. Don't take that risk. You have to have an escape route. Always have an exit strategy. And be thinking about your exit strategy as you're pulling up to a situation where you're going to have to stop. People are just walking around too clueless in Chicago, man. I see this all the time. Like, dudes just parking the car, sitting there chilling on the phone. How many situations have you heard about people getting shot by somebody just walking up to the car when they're just sitting in the car, chilling, smoking, this and that? This happens daily. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a sitting duck, man. Keep moving, or like I said, get out the car and have the conversation someplace else. So part of the issue, though, with this is that like I've mentioned a million times, there's guys who are doing this that shouldn't even be free in the first place. The last thing that I would say, guys, because that other topic, we've covered that in a lot of videos. Have your IDs and any personal information that you don't want people to have, like, on your person. Okay, I wouldn't have that stuff stashed in the glove compartment. I wouldn't have it like, in a fanny pack or in a backpack, like on the seat next to you. Have it on your person, so that they don't get a hold of that, because most guys, they typically just ditch the stuff or, toss your stuff, but you never know, man. Like, you don't want people to have your address and your identity and all that stuff, man. That becomes a whole new ball game at that point. So be smooth out there, guys, because it's like this right now, and you got to plan for it for the foreseeable future. This is your boy Winnie C. Report. I'm out.